And they said four-wheel drive meant all four wheels were gonna spin. Well, that is not what we're seeing right now. Welcome back, I'm Alex, and today we're doing some four-wheel drive stuff again. One of my favorite topics. Last time we had this Power Wagon spinning only two wheels in four-wheel drive high as well as four-wheel drive low. So here we go, we got one front wheel spinning and our other front wheel with all the traction is not spinning. And we'll come to our rear here. Once again, exactly what is happening. The tire with all the traction is getting no power. If we put this truck in four-wheel drive low, are we gonna get more traction by more wheels spinning? So we are in four-wheel drive low, and you guys should be able to see two wheels spinning, not all four, which did seem to surprise some people. So we'll go over that again a little bit today. But a lot of you guys mentioned that if you applied some slight brake pressure, we could get both wheels on the axle to spin at the same time. And that is exactly what we're gonna explore today. Secondly, last time I mentioned that torque takes the path of least resistance. Torque takes the path of least resistance, and that wheel has all the traction, so it has more resistance. This wheel, which is on ice, has less resistance, so all of our torque comes through our drive shaft into our differential and out into this wheel, spinning this wheel, not the wheel with all of our traction. Being completely honest with you guys, that is actually not correct. So we're gonna go through how torque actually goes through a differential mechanically, and that'll actually lead in very nicely to why applying some brake pressure could actually work to get both wheels to spin. So we got the Power Wagon in four-wheel drive on the ice here, and you guys can see something strange is happening once again. Not all four wheels are spinning when we're in four-wheel drive high or four-wheel drive lock. And yes, four-wheel drive high is considered four-wheel drive lock. Why? Because in four-wheel drive high, the transfer case is locked. The reason is because this transfer case only locks the front and the rear drive shafts together. After that, the differentials determine which wheel on the axle actually is going to spin. And so just because you have four-wheel drive doesn't really mean that all four wheels are gonna spin. Yes, all four wheels can receive power, but usually not at the same time. We put the traction boards on the wheels that were spinning. Now our other wheels are spinning. We got this front wheel spinning as well as our rear driver side. So as I mentioned, all four wheels can receive power in a four-wheel drive truck, obviously, but as we can see, not all four wheels are gonna receive power at the same time. Ultimately, it does not even matter where we put the traction boards, both on that side. Only the wheels on this side with less traction are going to spin in four-wheel drive. As you can see, they are not spinning on this side at all. So having your transfer case locked or in four-wheel drive lock does not guarantee that all four wheels are going to spin. And as we discussed and as I showed last time, doesn't matter if the truck's in four-wheel drive high or four-wheel drive low, the same thing happens. If there is a difference of traction with a four-wheel drive system with two open differentials, odds are you're only gonna have two wheels spinning. It just is what it is. Some folks are saying it's because it's just a crappy Ram truck. And well, I know it's a little bit salty here, but there is a Power Wagon badge under the salt here. So we have a locker in the rear, locker in the front, and clearly, yes, they are unlocked. If this was a real world situation, obviously I would lock up our differentials and force all four wheels to spin. But additionally, this truck also has a limited slip in the back. It's a helical style limited slip.
You can see as I spin the wheels, you can see those helical gears spin.
And you guys saw today on ice, once again, it just really wasn't that helpful. And we'll talk more about that later as to why that is. And honestly, understanding mechanical systems like this and how they work, I've always found very fascinating. Once you kind of get the inner workings of how these systems actually function, it makes understanding them just that much easier. And that reminds me of a book I've been flipping through. This is The Book, The Ultimate Guide to Rebuilding a Civilization. And what I like about it is it breaks down machines and mechanisms visually with a really detailed illustration that actually shows how things work. For example, there's a whole section on ball bearings, which I find kind of interesting. And a component as simple as a ball bearing is everywhere in trucks, transmissions, transfer cases, differentials. Exactly what we're talking about today. They're a huge part of why this truck can spin its wheels smoothly and handle loads. And honestly, it's cool seeing this stuff laid out visually. These systems appear everywhere in life, whether or not people realize it or not. And if you share a love of learning and just general curiosity of how things work, check out the book. I'll leave a link down in the description. So a differential will spin the wheel with least traction. That is correct. However, the torque to both axles is actually equal. Torque does not flow to the wheel with least traction. So with an open differential, it might only take, let's say, 50 pound-feet of torque to spin this wheel on ice. And what's going to happen is 50 pound-feet of torque is also going to come to this axle to try and spin this wheel. Obviously, 50 pound-feet of torque is not going to spin this wheel with more traction, so the wheel doesn't spin. So what happens is the limiting factor on an open differential is the wheel with less traction, but both axles receive the same amount of torque. But again, if the wheel with less traction only has 50 pound-feet of torque, this differential is limited to only putting out 50 pound-feet of torque to each axle, and that is why only one wheel spins. Torque does not take the path of least resistance, as I mentioned previously, so that is my mistake. And so this is where the idea of the brake trick comes into play. When you're maybe a little bit hung up and you can only get one wheel to spin on an axle, applying a little bit of brake pressure can allegedly get both wheels to spin and maybe get you out of that sticky spot. And we'll see what happens today. Oh! Going back to our example, let's say this wheel, it takes 50 pound-feet of torque to spin it on bare ice. But if we apply some brake pressure, maybe it now takes 250 pound-feet of torque to actually spin this wheel on bare ice. And with an open differential, that means that 250 pound-feet of torque is also going to be sent to our wheel with all the traction on the other side, and that could be enough to spin that wheel also. And that is sort of the theoretical principle of the brake trick, to try and get both wheels to spin. So Matt here is going to apply a little bit of pressure to our rear wheels, so we should see this traction board get kicked out if this actually works. Slam that brake down, see what happens. Nothing. So my good buddy gave my truck a little bit of brake pressure, and as you guys saw, not much really happened. So I jumped up in the cab. I gave it a lot of brake pressure. All right, my foot is to the floor on the brakes. And well, I gave her some pretty darn good brake pressure, and that traction board did not kick out. I don't know what to tell you folks, but it seems like the old brake trick ain't really doing brake trick things. All right, I tried as hard as I could to get that traction board to kick out with the brakes. It couldn't. So we've moved the traction board to this side. We're gonna give it another try and see if we can use our brakes to force power to this wheel and kick this traction board out to spin both wheels on this rear axle. We'll see what happens. And I'm gonna step on this brake here. Oh! Well, fellas, would you look at that? The old brake trick that you old timers, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Some of you more seasoned four-wheel drive folks told me to do. It worked on the second try. Not sure what happened on the first try. I was stomped right on that brake and could not get both wheels to spin, but we flipped the traction boards around and sure as she came flying right out, and both wheels spun at the same time, which was kind of cool to see, actually. Now, as I mentioned, my Power Wagon actually doesn't have an open differential in the rear. It's running a helical style limited slip. With an open differential, as we discussed, torque is limited by the wheel with least traction, and torque is equal to both wheels no matter what. So if one wheel is on ice and it only takes a small amount of torque to spin it, The other wheel with all the traction is also only going to get that small amount of torque, which is why we only see one wheel spinning on both axles. A limited slip differential works a little bit differently. Torque is not equal to each wheel or to each axle. Limited slip diffs can bias torque to the wheel with more traction, usually somewhere around 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 depending on the design. So in plain English, a limited slip can send more torque or power to the wheel with more traction, ideally leading to both wheels spinning. Going back to our example where it takes 50 pound-feet of torque to spin the wheel on ice, a 2-to-1 torque biasing limited slip diff could then send 100 pound-feet of torque to the wheel with traction. And that's why tricks like lightly applying the brakes can really help. You're increasing resistance on the slipping wheel, which allows more torque to be transferred across the differential. But in reality, I was on really slick glare ice, and realistically it probably took maybe something like 10 pound-feet of torque to spin that wheel. So even with a 3-to-1 limited slip torque biasing differential, you're still only going to get 30 pound-feet of torque to the wheel with traction, which is just often not enough to spin the wheel, which is what we saw today. And that's really the limitation of a limited slip. It can multiply torque unlike an open differential, but it's still limited by the traction at the slipping wheel, whereas a locker doesn't have that limitation. When the differential is locked, both wheels are forced to turn together no matter what. So I think we can conclude that the brake trick is a plausible thing to try and get both wheels to spin. Now we are at an extreme situation here. One wheel on literally like glare ice and one wheel up on a traction board. Typically, I imagine in a four-wheel drive off-road situation, the traction differences between both wheels are probably not going to be as extreme as this, so you might not have to press as hard on that brake. But we did get a traction board to kick out, and I was pretty pleased with that. Actually, a little bit surprised, if I'm going to be honest. But if you did like the video, don't forget to leave that thumbs up, and let me know if you want to see other four-wheel drive stuff tested, because this Power Wagon, she's a nice little guinea pig, and I do generally have fun doing these things. If you like stuff like this, don't forget to subscribe, because we'd love to have you on board. Anyways, enough of me. We got to back this Power Wagon off the ice here and hopefully make her off in one piece.